she could not walk at 9 months. Sitting down, unapata ni mkubwa kutoka kichwa hadi hapa, but tumiguni tukonde.
Obviously, yes, it will be present at birth, and most of them will be very noisy. So when the doctor listens, or even a nurse listens to that heart, every time this heart pumps and blood goes through this hole, there's a bit of an extra noise. So it will be tutush, 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 tutush.
I had lost hope, kabisa.
For the first surgery at 1 year, a band was put. A band is like a band, a rubber band. It was put on the pulmonary artery, that's the blood flow from the right side to the lungs, to reduce the amount of blood going to the lungs. It was a fairly big hole. Yeah, so at the age that Lovette benefited, it's because she was quite big, she'd grown so well, then it was just a matter of go in, close this hole, and remove this band.
In the heart of Feather Estate in Nairobi, Kenya, we meet Elosi Kariuki spending some quality time with her 2 children, Jane Lovette and Steve. A very active and joyful Jane Lovette is the center of curiosity. At 5.5 years old, she has a first-hand experience with a heart disease.
When she was around 7 to 8 months, the flu was on and off. When she turned 9 months, that's when we discovered about the fevers, 39, 40, and that's when I got the first admission since she was born. They admitted us for pneumonia, but there was no change. She was given different antibiotics, but when the pediatrician came, she said she's hearing a murmur on the heart. That's when we were told to go for an echo.
There are upper chambers, those are called the atriums, and there are lower chambers called the ventricles. So there's a right and the left side, and these have to be partitioned. So that's what we call a septum. One side pumps to the lungs, the other side pumps to the body. So when there's a hole in that septum in the ventricle pumping chambers, we call it a ventricular septal defect.
The echo results revealed that Jane Lovette had not only 1 hole, but 2 holes in the heart.
I wanted to go and die because already I had the attachment to the baby. And now thinking that my baby will die, I've never faced such an issue.
The whole process of the heart formation before the baby is born, before 8 weeks actually, any of these processes can be interfered with, usually at a genetic level, but there are few environmental factors like smoking, diabetes, and the rest that can cause an issue.
Though living with 2 holes in the heart, Jane Lovette had only a few of the classic symptoms of VSD, which include poor breastfeeding and eating, slow or no physical growth, breathlessness, easily fatigued, and a heart murmur.
It's a miracle because most of the doctors were asking me, why have you ever seen her with blue eyes, with blue lips? And I was saying, no, I have never noticed anything.
A common occurrence that often points to the severity of the disease, delayed diagnosis or treatment.
Let's say by 6 years, those changes have started. By teenagehood, they may have started turning blue. By the time they are young adults, this is a person who's quite compromised. They are blue lips, blue tongue, blue fingers. They are always tired.
80, 90. The hospital that I was could not do the surgery because they had no equipment. I was referred to Mombasa, from Mombasa to Israel, from Israel to India, so I refused. That's when I met a doctor who took me to GERTRUDE'S. They said the surgery could not be done as one surgery because the pressures were high. The pressures, I don't know, for pumping the blood were very high. So I asked them, how many times do you want the surgery to be done? They said twice or thrice. I was not comfortable, but I I said it's all right.
So it depends on where the lesion is. Some areas are accessible by catheter, and you can go in and put a plug, and that closes the lesion, and that's it. So what informs is anatomy, size, and also age of the patient. The catheter procedures are increasingly available in Kenya. What has been happening, a number of hospitals have set up their cath labs, which is quite a big financial endeavor, just to set up a theater-like space, but you're using it to do closed procedures, meaning you need some X-ray machines specialized to just look through as you're doing your procedure. So these are available in a number of hospitals in Nairobi. The impediment now is the devices by themselves are quite expensive. A lot of it is because bringing them in has a tax implication. Open heart surgery is a lot more accessible. Yeah? We still have to get a few more surgeons trained, a few more anesthetists in cardiology. So you get quite a number of experts that you have to sub-train, and that kind of financial input is what is lacking at the moment.
You're flying high, in caring, you're flying high.
2 open heart procedures later, Jane Lovette is not only doing well in school, her health is also thriving.
In January, February, we were put in medication up to around April. When we went for the next clinic, we were told to stop the medication. Right now, we are off medications. And since the second surgery, she have only been sick once, and it's from because of scoring.
So there are those we follow up very closely. There are those who need a bit, maybe even just annual review. So those who, after the surgical procedure, there are some who come out and the cardiac function, the muscle function is not optimal. Those we want to see quite frequently. You may see them monthly initially, then 3 monthly. There are those who are doing so well, the heart function is good, so you need to see them maybe every 6 to 12 months. Just see how the function is, do an ECG, see how the electrical activity is, and they're actually fine. And by the time we're saying we're off medication, we're not restricting activity. Once the heart has healed, it has healed.
Driver, call the doctor.
What I will tell the parents out there who have the same case with Jane, they should not worry. It is not the end of everything.